Dom here, and long story short, I basically want to make an ORAS 1v1 guide on this YouTube channel, just because I feel like it's kind of hard to get into 1v1 old gens as a whole, and because there's no ladder. If you want to learn 1v1 SM, just go on the ladder and play a bunch, right? But it's not as easy for old gens, and specifically ORAS is pretty fleshed out of a meta, I'd say. It's had a lot of tournaments and representation, and I've done pretty good in those tournaments, so I figured why not make a guide, because if I'm being honest, the last 1v1 tournament, ORAS wise, was pretty trash. I got the best record in that tour, 6-3, which isn't amazing. Like, it isn't like a super good record. Super good record would be like 6-1, 6-2, 7-1, whatever. But I mean, I did get the best in ORAS, and I thought there's a lot of lackluster play, and I'm not trying to like disrespect people. Well, I kind of am, because like some people are pretty trash, but I just kind of want to make the pool, better in future ORAS 1v1 tournaments. So, yeah. I'm going to go and start into describing the mechanic changes from ORAS to 1v1. So, basically, or more SM to ORAS. So, what the differences are. Number one, this might seem like a lot to read, but megas don't change their speed on the turn they mega. They do it on the next one. So, for example, Mega Metagross has 60 base speed or 70 base speed, right? And versus maybe a Garchomp, which is 103 base speed. The first turn you mega, even though you turn into 110 speed, you'll be slower than the Garchomp, so you'll just get earthquaked and die. But that's why a lot of maybe Pokemon would run Protect for that type of thing. So you'd Protect, and then the next turn you'd be able to outspeed the Garchomp. Also, it's not even just speed, it's about priority too. So, Mega Sableye, for example, gets Prankster. Or regular Sableye gets Prankster, but when it Mega Evolves, it loses Prankster when it gets Magic Bounce. But, turn 1, you can Mega, and you still get the priority +1 Will-O-Wisp. So, yeah, that's definitely in favor of some Pokemon like Mega Sableye. Maybe not as much for other Pokemon like Mega Metagross. Burn is also 1/8, or 1/8 of your health declining each turn instead of 1/16th, which is it's a big difference if you play a lot of SM and you go ORAS and you're like, wow, I'm dying to key Mew so quick. Prankster can hit dark types, it can in SM. Crits are like a 16th% every turn instead of 24th, and paralysis speed is 50% instead of 30, it's 50% in SM and 33% in ORAS, meaning that if you're getting paralyzed in ORAS, your speed is a third of what it usually is, but in SM it's a half. Alright, so let's move on to how the ban list has changed from ORAS OU. Basically, it's kind of a lot harder to get banned in ORAS 1v1 than in ORAS OU, or even SM 1v1, because there's no Z moves to make everything look so crazy and broken and chaotic and blah blah blah. And there's also no switching, so you can kind of prep for a lot of Pokemon pretty easily. Like, you don't have to manage switching into a specific Mawile set, you just have to be able to kill Mawile, Mawile is allowed. It is actually pretty darn good as our Pokemon in ORAS 1v1. It's not broken because you don't have to switch into it in OU and ORAS OU. It was just way too hard to switch in to knock off Thunder Punch, Fire Punch, or Fire Fang, player off all this stuff, and SC Sucker Punch can sweep your team. In ORAS, it actually is kind of different, but I'll get on this later. It's kind of different because you don't have to hit Pokemon on the switch. Knockoffs, anything. You won't really use knockoff in Mons that much anyways. Greninja is a lot easier to 1v1 because of its kind of mediocre-ish special attack. Although it can run Specs instead of Life Orb, which is kind of in its favor. It's not too hard to beat, although Greninja is pretty solid. In ORAS OU, Mega Sableye represented a lot of stall teams that were considered broken. But in ORAS 1v1, I thought it would be worse than it actually is. It's a pretty competent Stallmon or Calm Mind setupper, but it's not actually representing a whole team style for the most part. There are Sableye stall teams, quote unquote, in ORAS 1v1. But it's not like stall is not a style like with Chansey and all that it is in OU. I guess Slash. This thing was crazy in ORAS OU. I used to remember this thing, but yeah, it is like pretty darn underwhelming in ORAS 1v1. It is kind of it's not a subpar steel type, but there are definitely better steel types like Mega Mawile, for to like your team builder, and you can use as many megas as you want. So yeah, Unbound also is some of these Pokemon hard to switch into, but due to its very trash defense stat, it's pretty actually easy to 1v1 with stuff like Mega Lopunny, Charizard, Mega X, blah blah blah. And those are the pretty good ones that are still good in ORAS 1v1. These ones kinda aren't. Well, actually, people will say Landorus is the best one. Regular Landorus, has a fuck ton of coverage in ORAS OU, hard to switch into, blah blah blah. But in SM or in ORAS 1v1, all it really does is it kind of beats Charizard and some steel types like Mega Metagross, blah blah blah. And that's cool and all, but Landorus is a Pokemon that relies on getting 2 KOs to sweep your team, and if it's only getting 1 in, it's not gonna do that good. This Pokemon is very underwhelming. It's pretty much outclassed by Garchomp as beating a Charizard or a Metagross or a Mawile, something like that. Deluxe Speed, it's in OU, or it was banned in OU because it was able to use Spikes and Stealth Rock and blah blah blah. It was really good at Hazards, which don't exist in 1v1 or don't do anything, so yeah, it's pretty subpar. You can also use Defensive Set with Iron Defense plus Amnesia, but that is like a really subpar, I'd say, because it's outclassed by Defensive Mew, and also it's definitely crit bait, I would say. 1 out of 16, pressure's cool and all, but you're at like a huge risk of getting crit when you're running Stall Deoxys Speed with like Iron Defense, Amnesia, Recover, and then Taunt, and then you'd run like HP here, whatever. It's a subpar set. Yeah, I don't care about that. Mega Gengar doesn't trap stuff. Trapping doesn't exist. Mega Gengar is really, really bad in 1v1 at getting 1-hit KO moves. It's a subpar Pokemon. This hack set is what some people use. It's not even, no one really uses this set anyways, because in tournaments this set is like very unreliable. Like it is like less than a 50% chance to actually like beat your opponent. With this thing, it's just a really subpar Pokemon. It doesn't get 1-hit KOs, so it's pretty trash, and that's what you want in 1v1. You want to just instantly knock out your opponent, but you can't with Mega Gengar most of the time. Unless it's something like a Whimsicott that just dies to a Sludge Wave, but that's not most of the meta. Mega Lucario is one of those Pokemon that's really tough to switch into, but this Pokemon really struggles at getting 1-hit KOs. Since Mega 1v1 is pretty bulky offense-oriented meta, a lot of Pokemon can just hit it with a move, live it and hit it again, or just live a close combat and kill it with its reduced defense. Even though I don't know, I just made this setup. I don't think this is what most people would use, but most people don't use Mega Lucario. There's definitely better fighting types, especially considering Lucario only has a base 90 speed, and it doesn't get it till the second turn. It just leaves yourself to be, Dragon Danced on by Charizard and you lose. It's just not a good look. But the ban list for 1v1 is not really that much from ORAS OU. There's no real differences. Mud Slap and like Flash and all those moves are banned. The same with like Leaf Tornado and Muddy Water, because those can reduce accuracy. But yeah, it's just kind of like Double Team in OU, which is banned. And yeah, Swagger's also banned. Parish Song is also banned. Blah blah blah. Because Parish Song, there's a lot of good users of Parish Song in 1v1. So all you'd have to do is just sit there and stall out your opponent for 3 turns, and then you win. Like, that's just so broken. On like such a big variety of Mons, it's not healthy for the meta at all. It's gladly banned. No one's gonna like want to free that ever. Swagger, I think that's banned in ORAS OU, maybe. I'm thinking, yeah, it is. But it's banned in 1v1 because that would just be so stupid. And then also weird, if you look at the ban list here, whoops, this is the VR. If you look at the ban list, I don't think you can see the whole thing. Here, let me scrunch this up here. so you should be able to see it. But yeah, this is basically the ban list. And Chansey plus Seismic Toss is banned just because of how stuff was implemented on Pokemon Showdown coding wise. Chansey can't get Seismic Toss plus Charm, so they just put it on the ban list, like how they coded in. Basically, people used to be able to run that because, you know, Chansey got Seismic Toss and Charm, so people just ran it together because it was really good. But it's actually not allowed in game. Like, you get, I think, Seismic Toss from Fire Leaf Free, and you can't get Charm from that. So yeah. So that's about the ban list. But now let's look at really prominent Mons in the meta. So we got Mega Charizard. In ORAS OU, I mean, this is a pretty big generalization, but a lot of the time people will be able to look at your team and be like, yeah, that's Mega Charizard X because you have this, blah, blah, blah. Mega Charizard Y teams in particular kind of formulaic sometimes because you need to Pursuit Trap the Latios and, you know, stuff like that. Although there are some teams where it's ambiguous. In 1v1, it is really ambiguous whether it's an X or Y at preview, and you know, people often have to guess. And Zard is particularly versatile that it isn't in 1v1 or OU. So basically, this is just I think my set that I usually run, sometimes in SM, but ORAS 2. DD, Willow, Flare Blitz Outrage. If you're kind of a newer player, you'll be maybe thinking about Earthquake for Heatrans or Roost to live, but you don't really need either of those because number one, Heatran runs Air Balloon and that thing beats Charizard every time. But also because, you know, Roost this is really almost never necessary. There are times when you Wisp plus Roost is actually a set, but it's really niche. I've only seen it like once or twice. DD is really, really good just in general for, you know, beating, like, maybe say, well, Greninja isn't a great example, but DD and then Flare Blitz on Gardevoir or Lopunny or blah blah blah. Wisp is just cool for crippling physical attackers like Dragonite, although sometimes it is mixed, or mixed or special, even though special Dragonite's hella weak. And this set in general, this outspeeds Smeargle, and then I don't remember what the bulk does, but it does something. I think maybe Mega Lopunny. There's also Fizz-Def Easy Spreads. This is for Kieran Black in particular, I think, because yeah, you live an Outrage regular, and then you just DD and kill it. Scarf Kieran Black is a very good threat in 1v1, although it's not too common, I'd say. You don't really see it sent out that much. This is a SM set, but it's kind of I'd use this before this set. It's I think for no, don't run this here, just run the same moves as earlier, but yeah, this beats like Mega Lopunny and stuff. Oh, actually, it's the same speed tier, yeah. The bulk is different. This is more bulky. I think it lives Giga plus Fake Out or some shit. This is a set I made for like Greninja and Kieran Black with max HP, and then like some Spadef for Greninja Hydro Cannons. This is, I think it's a roll. Modest Greninja's Hydro Cannons a roll, but yeah. This speed is for Kieran Black, I think. And then this is like a way more Spadef set to like definitely beat Greninja all the time, like Modest, whatever. Sub is trash. I don't know why it's sub. Well, sub isn't trash, but you can run some other stuff. You can run in general. I do think that Wisp plus DD plus Flare Blitz plus Outrage is the best set. It has a lot of utility, I'd say, in general. Like, gets really good chip in ORAS, since burn is 1/8 or 1/8, you know, and it actually has a good shot versus like stuff like Gyarados and Dragonite. Although Belly Drum is a decent-ish option if you're really weak to Slowbro. I don't like it that much in a mid without Deoxys defense, but if you're like 3-0'd by Slowbro, give it a shot, and you don't need DD, or you don't need Wisp or something like that, then yeah, give Drum a shot, but I don't think it's that great, and it has limited uses. And of Flame Charge, but you can run it. Some people do. You can run, yeah, as I said earlier, you can run sub. You can run SD plus Flame Charge. That's a set that some people run. I'm not a huge fan. You can run here's a set that is like, you can run it, but it's not that great. You can run max HP, max Fizdef with counter for stuff like a lot. It's actually used for a lot, but it's not really useful. It doesn't beat the top Pokemon. It beats maybe like Garchomp, and it's kind of only used on like teams that have 3 Charizards. You know, it's kind of a gimmick. But yeah, Megazard, you don't want to run Earthquake because Heatran is not like, it doesn't even get affected by it since it runs Air and Balloon. Yeah, you can run Roost plus Wisp, but Roost is like not good most of the time. You'll just want to run some combination of Sub, Flame Charge, SD, even though I don't think either of those are really that good. Yeah, onto Zard Y. So this is like also one of the reasons that, man, Zard X is not like the reason why Charizard is so good. Charizard Y also just contributes to the versatility of Charizard and ambiguousness at Team Preview. This is a set that you'll maybe run Wisp or over Flame Charge, but this is the quote-unquote standard set. Even I don't really think that many people run this. And 1v1 people like to optimize and maybe go like, this is just an example, like kind of as a joke, but you can like just kind of flick your EVs around like this and make it look, you know, wow, look at these, you know, it looks kind of good. Even though I just made that spread up, it probably doesn't do anything. Actually 308 speed's not bad. Anyways, yeah, this hits hard. Blast Burn kills a lot of shit. If you look at the viability rankings, Charizard Mega X has a bad matchup versus Porygon Z, but there can be a Charizard Y set that can leave a Hyper Beam and kill. Same with Meloetta. Meloetta beats Charizard Y a lot of the time, but Charizard X, Spadef can beat that. Just stuff like that. Charizard Y can't touch this. Charizard Y can Solar Beam Rhyperior, so Rhyperior has to run like Custap or something. Charizard Y beats Venusaur a lot easier. It's just like it beats Manaphy, Solar Beam, blah blah blah. Although not really, because Ender on Custap, or Ender with Custap. But there's a lot of differences. Like Zard Y is weaker to Wisp or Rock Tomb Stalk, but Charizard X can Wisp it and win. There's just a lot of matchups where it depends on whether X or Y is gonna win the game. And you can run Modest if you want extra power for this or that. This beats, actually you can run Wisp over this set, or over HP Electric, but this is for Mega Gyarados, because Mega Gyarados doesn't want to take 2 Solar Beams a lot of the time, so yeah, HP Electric can hit the regular Gyarados, then you live a +1 Waterfall, and then you Solar Beam it again, or HP Electric or Solar Beam, whatever, and then you win. Although Wisp pretty much does the same thing as HP Electric, although with a little bit reduced accuracy. You can run Flame Charge here. Ancient Powers for other Zard Ys. Yes, it's that prevalent of Pokemon. Zard Y or Zard X, or you know, I mean Charizard in general is just gonna always be #1 in usage stats most of the time. And then I don't really remember what the set is. I'll link my stuff in the description probably. And this set beats Porygon Z. So yeah, Charizard is just a really good Pokemon at beating like a bunch of stuff. Like, look at this. Mega Blastoise Y can beat it. Empoleon Y, Blast Burn. Hoopa X, Outrage Y doesn't really beat it. Actually, does Y Blast Burn kill? I don't know. But yeah, there's a lot of matchups in general where the matchup is kind of ambiguous because Charizard, you don't know what it does. Flame Charge is cool for like a sub Landorus that I showed earlier. Spadef is pretty cool for like a Latios too, even though Latios isn't that prevalent of a threat. But here, yeah, let's just keep going into the rest of the meta. Charizard Mega is, I'd say, the best Pokemon. But we'll get to other top threats later in the video. Greninja. It's a very interesting Pokemon because it is very, very versatile. This is one of the most versatile Pokemon in 1v1. And it got so much usage in 1v1 PL, the latest 1v1 tournament, because the latest major 1v1 tournament, where people sometimes used 3 Greninjas on one team because there's no species clause. I forgot to mention that earlier. Fuck, I should have mentioned that. But yeah, you should you can use any of the same Pokemon over and over, because in 1v1 you can't like stack weaknesses or you can't do like weakness management. Really, it's a lot different because a lot of Pokemon they don't really cover their own weaknesses that well, versatility wise. But Greninja, people sometimes run triple Greninja, which is a gimmick like team style, kind of cheesy, but it's definitely used. And Greninja in general kind of rising up a little bit lately in general because it's a very versatile Pokemon. And here, let's just get into his sets. So Timid Specs is the most common. So Hydro Cannon is just good for nuking like everything, really. Like that's the move you're gonna want to use versus Mega Charizard, Mawile, Porygon Z. If you can hit the Pokemon, you should probably be using Hydro Cannon. Grass Knot or HP Electric. Well, it's more Grass Knot / HP Electric. I'm definitely more of a Grass Knot fan for Mega Gyarados because they're usually not that fast in ORAS because they're bulky for Kyurem, which we'll get to later. But you can just hit them with 2 Grass Knots. Even if they don't Mega, they'll take more than 50. So you can just hit 2 Grass Knots on them, and they don't outspeed after DD. A lot of the time, but not always. And if they do, or if you're really fiending to kill Gyarados, you'll run HP Electric because that kills the ones. Well, they'll never be regular. They may be regular if they think you're HP Electric, but HP Electric is kind of like a weird rising tech because it's super ambiguous whether it's Grass Knot or HP Electric. Ice Beam is cool for like Whimsicott, Dragonite, Garchomp. Whimsicott, as I said earlier. Mega Altar, like Dragon types that'll resist Hydro Cannon. It's not necessarily a mainstay. You can definitely go without Ice Beaming, but Ice Beam on Greninja is really good. And Dark Pulse, Extra Sensory, kind of miscellaneous moves for maybe Mew, Aegislash, and Extra Sensory is mostly for Mega Venusaur, which actually has a lot of usage, which I'll get to later. Yeah, so regular Timid, it's cool. Modest, you give up a lot of speed tiers. Here, I'll show you the speed tiers you give up. With Modest Greninja, like here, this is I think where it hits 343 with Modest, and you'll give up the Diancie matchup, fast Metagross, even though it's not really Metagross should beat you anyways. I guess Talon Flame isn't relevant. Mega Lucario, I guess. Other Greninjas. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not huge on giving up the speed tier Pinsir 2 or just any outspeed Pinsir. Not the biggest deal. Modest Ground, I don't know. Not a huge fan of. I'm not the biggest fan of. I'll use it sometimes, but it's mostly used for Mega Charizard because Mega Charizard Y will sometimes live Hydro Cannon. But if you're Modest, they can't. Or the bulky sets maybe will. Those sets that really want to beat you will. But it's a lot safer versus Charizard because Charizard doesn't have a type advantage and you just kind of try to nuke it. Although 103 is not the best at that. But the Greninja is really, really good and it's really popping because of its movesets. Like, this is what it can run. But you can also run Hidden Power Fire for mostly, like, I don't know. I think Ferrothorn's pretty much irrelevant in the current meta. You're going to want to use another Steel type over it pretty much all the time. But if you're weak to it, like if you're running Greninja, Metagross, fucking Whimsicott or something, I think I run that team actually, yeah. Then you'll want HP Fire just because Metagross. You don't want to get 3 out. And if you don't, you can definitely go without it because no one really uses Ferrothorn. But if you don't have anything else to hit with Greninja, you definitely can. Gunk Shot is really cool for Mega Gardevoir because they'll want to Hyper Beam you turn 1. And you can resist the Hyper Beam. And you actually live it. And then you can Gunk Shot it and kill it. Water Shuriken is interesting for, like, I don't know, like Donphan, Golem, even though those aren't really relevant in the meta currently. They've been more relevant in the past than they are now. But Hidden Power Ground for Magnezone, good option. Even though maybe they might, they're not going to Mirror Coat you. Shadow Sneak is decent, I guess, for Porygon Z. Rock Slide is actually pretty cool for bulky Charizard. Why is it try to live a Hydro Cannon? They'll die to Rock Slide since Protean, you have Protean. What is this? Hold on. Hidden Power Flying. Or Hidden Power, yeah, that's right. Hidden Power Bug for Hoopa if you're weak to Hoopa. Hidden Power Flying for Mega Heracross. Hyper Beam for opposing Greninja, actually, because Greninja is not very good at killing itself. Like, if Greninja 1v1s, your Hyper Beam will, like, 99% of the time win that. Unless you have Sneak, but you're never going to Shadow Sneak, ever. This is another Greninja set that abuses Torrent, which it's not, like, mostly people use it for Protean, but Greninja can use this Torrent set to try to kill with Hydro Cannon. Taunt is kind of cool, I guess. Scarf Greninja, I think, is pretty trash. Like, there's not really that much. Whoops. Load up the speed tiers again. There's not really that much that you'll want to beat with Scarf Greninja. I guess, like, Scarf Togekiss. You don't even beat Lopunny. Scarf Porygon. Yeah, I guess. Like, it's Scarf Greninja is pretty trash, but it's usable if you really need to beat some, like, stuff in particular. I'd run Hyper Beam for disopposing Grens, because why not? And Band is actually, I like Band a lot more than Scarf, even though I think Band is kind of niche. Giga Impact for, like, other Grens, I guess. Low Kick for Chansey. This is why I'd use it. Low Kick for Chansey. Rock Slide for Zard, because you can't really do anything with Giga Impact, so you might as well use Rock Slide. Air Lace for, like, Mega Heracross. Like, this is a really niche set, but yeah, Greninja is really versatile, and it can beat a lot of stuff, depending on what it runs. So yeah, Greninja is really good. Well, it definitely has weaknesses. You're never really gonna run Scarf, so if you want to beat Greninja, you can run a Choice Scarfer, and that'll usually do it. Or also, a lot of Pokemon you can optimize to make, like, defensive to beat Greninja, just because 103 OHKOing, not the, like, easiest thing in the world. But yeah, next I want to move on to Mawile and Metagross. I don't know, it's kind of funny that these two are close together, and yet they're very similar Pokemon. But I'm going to talk about them here, because they're kind of different than in OU. I'll just put EQ here. But Mega Metagross and Mawile are both Steel types, and Steel types are really good for a lot of the meta. They have a lot of good resistances. Fairy, here, I can show you, I guess. Fairy Dragon is a really important one, because Mega Charizard, it's weak to, like, I guess, Dragon, and some fairies can beat it, and so it's, it's a relevant Pokemon. Can beat Dragonite if it wants with Ice Punch. Yeah, it can beat both Greninja and Meloetta with Bulk. This set will beat Gyarados with Thunder Punch, and yeah, you can Thunder Punch, Bullet Punch wins versus Gyarados. There's even Crunch. Earthquake is for, like, other Metagrosses or Mawiles or whatnot. It's a very good Pokemon. It can beat, Meloetta, Porygon Z2, Kyurem Black, Mawile. Like, it beats this whole rank, At Gyarados too. Yeah, it's a very good Pokemon. Yeah, this is a set you're going to want. You don't want to run anything else. I don't really know particularly what the EVs do. I know that I think they're for, like, Crunch Gyarados or something. But yeah, very good Pokemon. This set is if you really want to beat like, other Garchomps, since you can't get the speed boost turn 1. And actually, with this set, you won't outspeed them anyways, but you can Protect and then Ice Punch. Or, yeah. And this is more for other moves, though. Mega Metagross, Meteor Mash BP are good. You want to keep those. Actually, you can run Iron Head over Mash, but I don't know. It's not really that useful.